I got a crush on him. Just letting that out there. Good morning. Thank you for coming. I sent out a few emails to ask people to come. And then as I was sitting there, because I am going to be talking about our feelings and our thoughts and our feelings and all of that, how that interrelates. I was feeling what I was feeling while Charlie was saying his prayer and through the announcements. And I was noticing, boy, your heart's beating kind of fast. And then I thought, that would just be me. I'm probably in VTAC or something very serious, but I'm thinking, it's just your feelings. Just your feelings. So if I pass out up here, call 911. That's all. So as within, so without. We are talking about a world that works for everyone through this year. And that's today's talk title. And Reverend David sent me a few of the ideas that the organization overall is asking us to share. So I was reading these and I'm thinking, that title and some of these thoughts weren't connecting with me in a way that I felt like I could give you a heartfelt sharing. So what I will do in honoring the organization, will share some of their quotes that they want us to all anchor into and have an understanding of. So Ernest Holmes says, we believe, and this is something that I think you can all begin to cherish, that we are surrounded by this creative mind. Now we call this the creative mind, we call it God, we call it love. But we are surrounded by this creative mind. It dwells within us as us. And it is always receiving the direct impress of our thoughts and acts upon it. So all that we are thinking, our world is created from that. So there comes that great scripture, as I give, so shall I receive. So we've spoken about this idea, as within, so without, so many times in our teaching. But I ask us to go a little bit deeper together. You are a spiritually wise group, and I ask us often to meet that challenge, to question why. Why are you coming here? What is it that you long for? What is still causing a disturbance in the altar of your heart? So another way of saying that is, what is limiting you? Is it an unconscious habit, a repressed feeling, leading to some form of discord, hence the cause and the effect? So we spend a lot of time as practitioners sitting on one-on-one with people to try to recognize what is that which is limiting this great knowing of love. When we speak of it with our brain and our mind, we just think, well, yeah, love, one, all of these ideas of such beauty, and they start to blanket us with comfort. But there's something else going on the inside. And so my invitation for you today is to simply wake up. And I take my wisdom and I lean into the wisdom of this talk from Leonard Jacobson, Journey into Now, and the awareness, Anthony DeMello. Anthony DeMello is somebody that was brought into my awareness many, many years ago when I first started the journey. He has so many fabulous books. And when Dr. James Golden was here, he used to do a lot of Nazarene stories. And they always, the little stories, those little moments of sharing a comical story of the way of looking at something was so heart-lifting. It was a message that you could take away. And Anthony DeMello is, he's actually a minister, a priest in India. But he says this on waking up. This is the story that he shares. I heard this story about a gentleman who knocks on his son's door. Hi. Jamie, he says, wake up. Jamie answers, I don't want to get up, Papa. The father shouts, get up. You have to go to school. Jamie says, I don't want to go to school. Why not? Asks the father. 3 reasons, says Jamie. First, because it's so dull. Second, the kids tease me. And third, I hate school. And the father says, well, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you must go to school. First, because it's your duty. Second, because you're 45 years old. And third, because you are the headmaster. Wake up. Wake up. You've grown up. You're too big to sleep. Wake up. Wake up. So wake up, all of you guys out there. You're too big to play around with all these little, sweet little spiritual messages. I'm going to ask you just to wake up. And so in that waking up, you have to recognize, thank you, Damien, for reading Leonard Jacobson's words so beautifully, this idea about feelings. And if you're wondering why this is set up, it's not from the movie that we saw Friday, Screenagers, which was fabulous. Thank you, Sally Foster, for being the team champion of that, and the endowment committee for helping to sponsor it as well, because it was a real eye-opener and an opportunity for our community to see what this idea of looking at cell phones is doing to us, right, Charlie? And so I brought a big screen just to dull your brain a little bit more, and we're going to be looking at a small film clip in just a moment. But I want you to ask, whatever I say today, I'm inviting you, not asking you, I'm inviting you to continue to check in with yourself about your feelings. Feelings are so interesting, thoughts and feelings, because they're going on inside of our head, and it feels like a lot of conversation, right? There's always somebody saying something inside your head and somebody answering, but you're the only one there. And yet, I want you to, this is where this oneness is. It is the witness that is sitting in that seat, in that altar of your heart and in your whole awareness, in that level of consciousness that we rise up to through spiritual practice, and it sits there and it just witnesses it all without engaging with all the different pieces. It just is witnessing, and it's inviting you. This is where Eckhart Tolle, this is where every spiritual teacher in our modern day, this is what Ernest Holmes is saying, this is what Paramahansa Yogananda says. There's only one. And in this oneness is this present moment. And when we dwell in that moment, all these other things wash through us like the river going back to the ocean. We are like the drop into the river, into the ocean, going back to our unity and our oneness with the all. So all of those are kind of like, wow, yeah. That's what the Bible's saying. That is what the Bhagavad Gita is inviting us to know about. Every scripture, every true mystic is trying to invite us back into present moment. In present moment, you are aware, you are awake, and you are seeing all that is from an idea of that which is witnessing what is. And that witness is non-judgmental. It's just got this open heart that will allow you to deal with what is before you, but not repress it. Now, I digress a little bit, but you know how it is, and this has always been a question to me when I felt like I've done my spiritual practice, and then I show up someplace, and before I'm even there for a second, the light just came on, and they're going, what's wrong? And my teeth are clenched. I go, what's wrong? What do you mean? What's wrong? And I'm thinking, what are they seeing in me? They're seeing something that I repressed, that I tried to blanket over with a little spiritual affirmation. But what I don't want to tell them is that they bug me. And I'm trying to hide that. What do you mean? We're all one. And then I think, so there it is. There's that repression. And we repress all of the feelings that we don't really like. Sadness, and we're going to talk about that one. We repress fear. We repress our anger because we think we're not supposed to be angry. And those are just emotions. And emotion is a word that talks about, the very root of the word is moving. It's allow us to move. And when we feel an emotion, it sparks us to wake up, to just be the witness to it, and not to judge it or dissect it in such a way that it finds room to have residence inside of us, but that it can move through us like the river. So these feelings, as described by Leonard Jacobson, they arise in the present moment, even though what the feeling is about comes from the remembered past or the imagined future. If you are fully present with the feelings as they arrive, then you will bring yourself out of the mind into the present moment. If you become involved with what the feelings are about, Then you will be caught into the mind's world once again. If you judge or repress your feelings, you will be caught into the mind's world, not God's world, the mind's world, that which we create from that which we have perceived and allowed our imprints through our lifetime to feed back to us. So if you project your feelings onto others, you'll be caught into the mind's world. If you disown your feelings in any way, you're caught into the mind's world. If you are for or against your feelings in any way, then you're caught into the mind's world. All you can do is feel your feelings as they arrive. Experience the feelings consciously as they present themselves, and they will pass through you like a river flowing to the sea, like a river flowing to the sea, feelings. So when I speak of that and this idea of the witness inside of you is the God self, it is the one. And Leonard says God is the one. God is the one in all. God is pure consciousness. God is the silent presence. God is at the heart of all things. God is in everything, and everything is in God. There is only one God. God is real. God is here now. God is present. Only when you are fully present, you see, only when you are fully present will you encounter the living presence of God. So those a few thoughts to lead into what I'm going to share with you today about this particular movie. Now, I find this movie absolutely brilliant, and it's for all ages, which you will see. And the takeaway from this, it's about the inside story that takes place mostly in our head. And this particular one is from an 11-year-old girl named Riley who's just moved with her parents from Minnesota to San Francisco. So on the outside, this is a lead into the movie. It's a pretty standard kind of a format. So you can see this outer plane of this idea unfolding. There's a dinner table argument with mom and dad, a rough day at school, all the things that can help start to create her to model an interior drama inside her head. So watch some of these personified feelings, and we'll talk about them in a little bit. But enjoy this. Damien and Charlie, the lights. The Pixar movie Inside Out. And when I first saw it, I took so much away from that movie because I thought it was such a clever inspiration on touching into the way we are, and it's been spoken to in such beautiful ways, like we have a committee inside of us, but this ever-present joy that is the essence of God and the essence of love, always trying to restore this idea of harmony back inside of us. So this quote from the Science of Mind textbook: back of nearly every discord or disorder, there is some subjective complex or a mental knot that needs to be untied, generally some suppressed emotion, which perhaps is centered around affections, the likes and the dislikes, the loves, the passions, and everything that goes with them. These knots must be untied, and it's the business of each one of us in our spiritual practice to untie them. And when you feel the freedom, when you feel the present moment, you have allowed yourself to witness that state of being set free. And as within, so without. This is the ways that you end up making an important difference out into your world. You become your authentic self. So we spend our time asking ourselves questions every day to try to get great clarity on what is going on inside of us. Not so much, remember, about what's going on in the others around us. There's no real way to know what's going on inside. You could see what was so busy in this demonstration of inside the head. There's no way you can understand what's going on in the world around you. So look at this master board. There were 5 emotions, and they were all jostling to control it. The anger and the disgust and the fear, they all were created in such a comical way, but we know what it feels like when we just, like the little red man that came out and just blew his stack. But how, when a new feeling would come in, how he would yield to that and say, oh, we're doing the airplane thing, and he would shift. This is what it's inviting you to be touched by some of these feelings so that you can bring joy, love, and compassion to your own self. Therefore, when you are anchored in the authentic knowing of those values and those emotions, this is the consciousness that you are cultivating within you. And so you can focus this out into your world, and then you are the spiritual warrior that makes a difference out in the world. So what does this require? It requires great faith. And this week we were talking about faith in the grief class, and there was the idea of sometimes when you're exploring your beliefs and you start to spill them away, you kind of lose your support system with that, right? Those beliefs helped to stabilize you and get you through because you could lean into your beliefs. But if you start to think, those don't work for me anymore, those weren't really mine, those aren't really loving, and they start to fall away. And I had a patient describe to me, she felt like when she was doing something like that, it felt like one of those things that they advertise out on TV, those blow-up dolls that kind of do this. When she's out there, when she's letting go of some of the ways that she structured herself. And I could really identify with that image. But faith is really asking us to let go and to let ourselves yield with what is in such a way that we bring love. We allow our vision to come from that consciousness that is love. It is that which God dwells within us, as that oneness that sees all from that clarity, from that point. So how do we change the world? Do we do it through just judging? All it does is cause our heart to close. But what we want to judge is only ourselves and the emotions that we're feeling, to try to understand it and let it go. And I only have a few more moments to speak to you about this, but I want to share with you a meditation that I was witness to yesterday. And if you could feel this in your own being, because I could speak words to you, but until you feel it, until you take it and you put it into your heart and you distill it there and you offer this as a place to really polish the heart and the oneness with God, with love, with spirit, whatever you name that which is. So I invite you just to right now think of something that causes you tension, that you feel is coming from the outer world. And it's not hard if you can't think of something personal, because I could start telling you about politics, and that'll do it. Because you can start to feel, there again, there's where we're starting to divide. That's why I think politics is so painful, because we start to divide us against them. And so it's a time, it's spiritual work, it's spiritual tools to really take and try to see all that is without judgment. Very challenging. But take in something right now that causes you a little bit of that tension, and close your eyes and try to feel, where is that in my body? When I think of those things, where in my body does it tighten? Do I feel the disconnect? And then feel yourself literally open your hands, and perhaps even lift your hands, and allow that to simply flow through you. Letting it go, just watch. Or a moment ago you were grasping it, and then when you open your hands, imagine that you're freeing it. The idea of grasping and clinging to the open hands of simply flowing. And you breathe with that. You see, the breath is your gateway to the Lord, to the truth, to this divine knowing. It is the breath. It has the pattern, the ability to move through all that there is. And what breath does, it is an avenue to cultivate a greater love. And so that which we were grasping, we have our hands open and we feel the sense of letting go, freeing it, recognizing now we're beginning to dwell in a space of awareness. And if the story starts to shut you down somewhere, you breathe there and you say no more. I choose now to bring love here, to let this tension flow through me like it flows through the river. And if it gets stuck on a twig in the river, you spend a moment and you watch it let go. You watch this idea of the stream ever flowing through you. And what happens is you're no longer driving with your brakes on, but you're allowing Spirit to just simply flow through you. You're allowing the force of divine love offer itself through you. Through you. Divine love through you. And when you allow yourself to rest in the rivers of this deep divine feeling flowing through you in the presence of now, you are forever free. So my invitation, as you continue to move through your days and to your weeks, start to identify that it is difficult to be a human being. It is difficult to return love for hate. It is difficult to want to include something that you totally want to discount and exclude from your experience. It's difficult to admit when you're wrong. But this creates anxiety and suffering, so it's our duty as human beings, as divine beings, to unite ourselves in the heart of our own soul and to recognize that we want to be aware of whatever it is, a negative feeling, even the good feelings, be aware. The feeling is in you. And as you understand that feeling, if you realize it's not reality, the feeling is not reality. Oh, that's right, it's just something that moves through me, and you can watch it let go. So you're not identifying it. If you feel depressed, you don't say, I am that, because the greatest spiritual truth, way back to the Vedic text, I am that. So we don't want to name that I am depressed and hold that as our anchor. We want to say, I am love, and let that be that which flows through us. Depression's there? Yes. Sad heart? Yes. Let it flow. Don't identify it as you are that. It's just there. It's just there. And if you don't let it have too much residence in you, it just has no room to stay. And joy will replace that. So in the Gita it says, plunge into the heat of the battle and keep your heart on the lotus of the feet of the Lord. So it is a battle in such a way, but it's a joyous battle where the spiritual warrior inside of you is invited to allow the vision of God and the yearning of your soul to have that mystical experience, that the Center of Spiritual Living in Reading is not only about a philosophy and a teaching, but it's about a group of people that are mystics in their own heart, and they leave this place, they leave this world in such a way that they know what it means to be one with God. Wouldn't that be something? So wake up. Wake up. You are the headmaster within your experience. Now, in my closing, in my treatment, I want to share with you some words of some wise people, some women I've spent the year with in doing the practitioner training. And I'm going to read two of these this time and two in the next service. But these are their words from their heart as they've been spending a year together polishing and understanding their true nature. And I won't share their names so I won't embarrass them, but their words are so powerful. So in closing with these treatments, hear this knowing for you. The one power creates all that exists. There is only one. In all, as all, through all, only God. The one source is the beginning of everything, the whole of everything, and the ending of everything. This source expresses and creates by means of me. I am complete and perfect expression of the one. My life is one of wholeness. All that I am, all that I know, each and every part of my physical being, my emotional being, my spiritual being is God in experience. I am divine wholeness. I am divine wholeness as only I can be. I am divine wholeness expressing the truth of God in every thought, breath, movement, feeling. All that I have ever been and all that I can ever be is the divine source in expression. All of me is divine expression. All of me is divinely complete. All of me is the presence of the one, as only I can express it. These words are for you, each one of you in the audience. Filled with gratitude for knowing this truth, thankful for the joy and the freedom it brings, grateful for the inspiration and optimism born in me because of this realization, I move confidently forward, knowing that the divine awaits in all that I find, stating my word and knowing it is already so. I let it go, and so it is. Beloved Mother, Father, God, I recognize your presence in all that I see. Beloved Mother, Father, God, I recognize your presence in all that I see. I am aware of your love and your peace. Your presence permeates my consciousness. Your love fulfills my every need. Your goodness brings me comfort. I choose to connect with that presence, love, and goodness now, for I know that as a child of God, I have access to those same divine qualities. I know that as I continue my training, my practitioner training, that you are with me, assisting as I grow and learn, and I realize that when I turn within, I always find you, and I am able to receive your guidance. I find strength of purpose in your presence. I know that you are ever with me, bringing comfort and self-assurance as I continue on my journey of self-discovery and empowerment. And so at the deepest level of gratitude, I release my word to the law in the certainty that is now manifesting in the present and forevermore. And so it is. So, two wise women, having polished and spent a year looking deeply at all of that has been a roadblock to their true authentic self. And in the end, they're set free, and I share their words with you because their story is your story, and our hearts are connected in that place of empathy and compassion and love. And that's all I can say for now, because there's more at 10:30. God bless you, and thank you.